Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin have officially revealed the number of their car and the team name for the car, and it looks like a certain organization will be downsizing to part-time status in 2021. Lots of NASCAR news to get into. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. The first story we're going to talk about, it was revealed earlier today when you're watching this tomorrow, but it was revealed earlier that Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan have revealed the team. The team name is going to be 23XI Racing. That will be the name for the Hamlin-Jordan team. And like I said, the car number will be 23. 23XI, for those who know, is 2311 Racing. 23 symbolizing Michael Jordan and 11 symbolizing Denny Hamlin, since Denny Hamlin drives the 11 car. This was pretty much expected. The team name for 2021, this is pretty much what the name was expected to be, as they filed a couple weeks ago the trademarks for 23XI Racing. Remember, we know that Bubba Wallace is going to be driving 23 car. What has not been revealed for 2021 at the moment is if this is going to be a Toyota-backed team or is going to be a JGR Alliance as well. It's expected it's going to be a JGR Alliance and Toyota-backed team. Here's what Denny Hamlin said about this organization and the name coming out. Michael and I have had a shared vision for this team, so it's exciting to see it reflected in the team name and on the race car with the iconic number 23 that Michael made famous. Like I said just a second ago, this was expected to be number, and this was expected to be the team's name. I think a lot of people have a lot of high expectations for this organization for 2020. It's expected that they are going to have a JGR Alliance, and they're going to be backed by Toyota. I don't think this team immediately is going to click. I think it's going to take a little bit for this team to start really getting rolling in 2021. I don't think right away in the first year they're really going to click. I think it's going to take a couple years. Well, not a couple years. I think it's going to take 1 year for them to really get click. But I still think there is a really good chance that this organization will be able to have an opportunity to go out and win in their first season. But I do not think that they're right away going to be a top-tier organization. I think that it won't take them to probably halfway the year for them to really click. Again, I think they're still going to have a lot of top 10s and a lot of top 15s right away. And I think they will be a contender for the playoffs this year. I think their really goal is to try to make the playoffs in their first year. That would be phenomenal, especially for a first-time organization, especially for Michael Jordan and, Denny Hamlin. Michael Jordan is one of the best NBA players, probably the greatest basketball player of all time. I know people say LeBron James is, but in my opinion, Michael Jordan is the best basketball player of all time. Teaming up with Denny Hamlin, we knew this about a month ago. It's now late at night, and I'm extremely excited for this organization, and there's just so many really awesome organizations. And just looking at the playoff grid next year, I think it's really going to be hard to tell who's going to make the playoffs this year, who's not going to make the playoffs. Like I said, you have 23XI Racing coming in. You got Trackhouse Racing that's expected to be embedded into the RCR stable. So they're going to have like 3 cars. Granted, RCR is still going to be a 2-car organization, but it looks like they're going to have 3 cars in 2021, as they're going to be a separate organization, but they're going to have like 3 cars competing. So RCR and Trackhouse Racing working together. That's going to be really fun to watch. And then you have like Richard Petty Motorsports, who just recently picked up Eric Jones. And Eric Jones, I think, is going to do a little better than Bubba Wallace. I think they're outside playoff contenders as well. So I think this playoff watch next year especially is going to be really fun to watch, especially for the fans when we get into 2021. I think next year is going to be really, really fun for the fans. On to the next story. We're actually going to talk about a couple paint scheme reveals. Levi Family Racing is running a throwback scheme to their first ever race in 2011 at Texas Motor Speedway. I am so happy they're running a throwback. I really thought they were going to run this throwback at the Darlington Throwback Race, but it went with Christopher Bell's 2017 Truck Series Championship. I really love this scheme. It gives me nostalgia back to when Levi started in 2011. I cannot wait to see this car on the racetrack this weekend. I hope it does really well. They had a really good run at Kansas, so I'm hoping that they can continue their success, as they'll be closing out their team at the end of this year, which is a great shame. I mean, I am glad they're doing a tribute finally. It makes a little bit of sense they're doing here at Texas, though, but I'm really glad that they're going to be redoing this. Another paint scheme that was revealed earlier this week is Lefty's Ally scheme. Someone who's big here on the Twitter community, a really awesome designer as well, by the way. He has worked up with Ally and Jimmy Johnson, and they revealed the paint scheme that he designed. In my personal opinion, this is my favorite Ally paint scheme that has ever come out. It just looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful. I just wish this was the original Ally scheme, because I would have liked it from the beginning. To be truthful with you guys, when the first ever Ally scheme was revealed in 2019, I was not a fan of that scheme. I drastically hated the scheme. It just looked bad at the front of it. It got improved in 2020, and like I said, the first one was bad. But when they did the rally scheme, I was a major fan of that scheme when they revealed it. But the fact that this is going to be the scheme that they are going to use in 2021 at Texas, not 21, 2020 at Texas for Jimmie Johnson, I love it. I love it. I'm really happy, such as someone we know in the community, Lefty. I'm really glad that Jimmie Johnson and Lefty had teamed up. I'm really excited for this scheme to be on the racetrack here really shortly. And on to the next story of this episode. Someone who hasn't raced in the Xfinity Series, but a really good driver in the late model series, Josh Berry, is expected to run 12 races for Junior Motorsports in 2021 in the first half of the year. The other half of the year is expected to be where Sam Mayer comes in when he will turn 18 years old. Josh Berry, for those who don't know, is a really awesome driver in the late models. He has, however, raced in the Xfinity Series a couple, I think 8 or 9 times to my knowledge, and he's got 2 top 10s. So he's been pretty consistent. He's driven for Junior Motorsports in pretty much all those races as he is Dale Jr.'s late model driver. I am really excited about Josh Berry running next year. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people next year. Yes, the Xfinity Series competition is not as good as it used to be. But Josh Berry's age, I think, is really going to help in his maturity. I think Josh Berry is going to put up a lot of great performances next year. What are my expectations for Josh Berry? I don't know if a win for me is in the cards for him, but I think quite a few top 5s and definitely some top 10s for him. He doesn't have to get top 10s in every race, but if he can be really consistent, to be a consistent top 15 driver, even a top 10 driver on a week-to-week basis, I would be extremely happy, especially for Josh Berry. I'm really excited to see him back. When I heard the news earlier today that Josh Berry was going to be coming back, I was really thrilled to see him. Because, he's a fantastic late model driver. He's won a few late model championships in NASCAR, and I cannot wait to see what Josh Berry is going to do in 2021. On to the next story. Bubba Wallace has a new personal deal with another sponsor called Root Insurance, and they will be partnering with Bubba Wallace. I don't know if this is going to be in 2021 or if this is just going to be for 2020. I'm assuming they're going to be bringing and carrying it for 2021 as well. It's great to see Bubba bringing a lot of these sponsors, and what's very interesting about Root Insurance is that this actually, like DoorDash and a couple other sponsors, this is actually their first ever athletic sponsorship. That's really cool, that Bubba Wallace is bringing all these new sponsors into the sport, especially during a time where in the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen quite a few sponsors leaving the sport. We're going to be talking about sponsors that looks like they're not going to really be returning for 2021, except for another driver really soon. But the fact that Bubba Wallace continues to bring a lot of these really cool sponsors into the sport is really cool. I'm wondering what else Bubba is going to bring. I don't know if this is all the sponsors that Bubba has at the moment, but I'm really glad at the moment that Bubba Wallace has a new sponsor in a company called Root Insurance. I cannot wait to see this. I wonder if they will sponsor one of his cars this year, or they're waiting until next year to make the move, or just as like a personal brand deal similar to the Beats by Dre car that they're running. I think next year Beats by Dre probably will sponsor the car at some point, but I really like this sponsor coming into sports, a newer sponsor, great insurance, by the way. I've heard from multiple people, and I cannot wait to see Root Insurance help out Bubba in the sponsorship roles. And now we get into the final story of this episode. This is actually the only bad one, but I have saved the worst for last in this episode. Unfortunately, in 2021, Go Fas Racing is going to be scaling back to part-time status for the 2021 season. It looks like they're only going to be running 5 to 6 or maybe even 7 races in 2021. Apparently, this has not been confirmed, but chatter has said that the charter has been sold to Matt Tifft and BJ McLeod. BJ McLeod at the moment currently owns a NASCAR Cup Series team, which is a part-time organization. And it looks like BJ McLeod is going to try to extend to full-time status for 2021. Very interesting that Matt Tifft is back. Now, some people were speculating that Matt Tifft could be a driver for 2021. Bob Pockrass confirmed it. It looks like it's just going to be like like a co-owner status, basically, for Matt Tifft, which is really cool. At least we're going to see Matt Tifft back in some sort of capacity back in the sport. Now, it isn't confirmed what driver is going to be driving. I wouldn't be surprised if BJ McLeod ends up being the driver. I assume that the number for that team is still going to be 78. But Joe Falk, who owns part of that for Go Fas Racing, looks to be owning the other side of that charter, my knowledge. Remember, Go Fast Racing does carry 2 charters, one of them which is right now owned by Wood Brothers Racing, and Wood Brothers made a statement earlier. I'm not going to read it to you guys. But what's really interesting about this is who is going to be the driver of this car. Now, a lot of people thought that the driver was going to be Ryan Ellis, who's their PR person. Well, Ryan Ellis confirmed that he's not going to be the driver of this car, but he is looking to try to make trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series starts. Now, like I said, they used to be a part-time organization back in the day. Remember Go Fast Racing when they started? It was a partnership with Go Green Racing, to my knowledge, and Go Fast Racing. A couple organizations kind of together, and they kind of split up, I think, to my knowledge. And they became a full-time organization in 2017 when Matty D came in, and in the last 2 years, they've been with Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie earlier this year announced that he was leaving the team, and they took a lot of sponsors with them, like Shooter Systems and a couple other sponsors are not returning. On top of that, you're not going to have the Trump 2020 car out there since that sponsor is only for 2020. And Keen Parts has said that they're only going to really be sponsoring someone for one race, being Ryan Ellis. They're only looking to sponsor him for one race in the 2021 season. But they're not going to be sponsored because they can't get access, which it really sucks. So if NASCAR can find a way where we can have sponsors be able to come to the track in the future so we don't continue to lose sponsors like Keen Parts and other sponsors like Geico that are leaving, because Geico's really not coming back to sponsor anybody because there's no fans allowed and they can't really get that fan access. And that really, really sucks, especially for this organization. And it really sucks, that Go Fast Racing is just scaling back. It really sucks for seeing some of these teams, this is unfortunately the part where COVID comes in. It's starting to affect a lot of these organizations. That Germain is shutting down and Levine's shutting down. But at least we're going to get 2 teams replacing that. And Go Fast is unfortunately scaling back the part-time status. It sucks. But this is something that is going to probably end up continuing for a lot of teams, not just in the Cup Series, but Xfinity Series and the Truck Series as well. This is something that will have some sort of repercussions for the future. Like I said, I don't think right now it's going to affect as much, but as time goes on and we continue to see COVID-19 when sponsors cannot go to the racetrack and only time they're really going to get an opportunity is when they're on TV, this is going to hurt sponsorship. And are sponsors going to be able, or are they going to want to sponsor certain teams and certain drivers? That's what I'm worried about. But now the big question is, who do I think is going to be the driver for Go Fast Racing part-time? It wouldn't shock me if it's like a Ford development driver. It's not going to be Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric's going to be driving part-time for Penske. We're assuming it's going to be Austin Cindric. That's not the case. Maybe like Riley Herbst or Kaz Grala could be in the running for that, but Kaz Grala is being rumored maybe to go full-time with RCR. That's a rumor that has been rolling around recently. On top of that, apparently he might have been possibly in the running to go full-time with this 32 organization, but sponsorship fell through the roof. But he does have a lot of money and a lot of backing together. And Go Fast Racing earlier today trolled the hell out of people because they basically liked the tweet from Noah Sweet, lefty by the way, saying that maybe they were announcing that Kyle Larson going full-time and they liked it. I love when these sponsors and these teams basically troll people. That's really funny. But man, it just generally sucks that we're seeing an organization like Go Fast Racing shut down, go down to part-time status in 2021. That just really sucks. But unfortunately, that is the repercussions. Now, my expectations is they're probably going to run Daytona 500 and probably attempt to run the road courses. So maybe we'll get some road course runners like a Boris that comes out of retirement. That is a very big possibility. Maybe like Alex Abay gets to run a few races. That's a driver that does have sponsorship. Maybe can bring like a sponsorship like Can-Am over to that team. That is a very big possibility, but we'll have to see what happens, who the drivers are for this Matt Tidd, BJ McLeod team, because they're supposed to make an announcement later next week, to my knowledge. And Go Fast Racing will probably be making their announcements for the driver that's going to be part of that car really, really soon. But anyway, that is going to be it for today's huge NASCAR video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Links description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. How do you feel about the 23XI Racing Organization, the name and the car? Do you really like the name or not? Let me know in the comments below. And how do you feel about Go Fast Racing? Are you sad about it or not? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you do like these videos that I continue to make so YouTube can recommend more of these epic videos out to you guys. If you do that, I really appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.